The new Eduard P-51 Mustangs in a dual combo D-Day set. Is it worth the hype? Find out more about it right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you've been here before. So today I'm looking at the dual combo boxing of D-Day P-51 Mustangs from Eduard in 1/48 scale. It's a special boxing of two of the kits in one. Now, if you like the show, and I hope you do, please remember, easiest way to support the channel is by subscribing. If you do that and hit the bell, you'll be notified of all my future content as it is published. And of course, anything you see on my channel that you like, please do give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below that, because every like counts. So let's have a look and see what you get in this box of the D-Day Duo set of the P-51B Mustang from Eduard in 1/48 scale. So this is the box of the Overlord D-Day Mustangs dual combo set from Eduard. Limited edition, it says here, 1/48 scale, it reminds you here. Eduard logo dual combo set and the title Overlord D-Day Mustangs P-51B. On this long side, and I'm struggling to get this actually on my shooting stand, which is why it all looks a bit cramped up. There's a reminder it's a limited edition dual combo Overlord. At this end, of course, the 1/48 scale, the item number, which is 11181, Eduard reprise of the box art, and the 10, yes, count them, 10 decal schemes included in this set. On the other long end, same information at this end here, reprise of the box art again, and it says P-51B and P-51C Mustang in 1/48 scale, the new Eduard design and tooling. There's photo etch, there's pre-painted parts, there's masks for painting, and the decals for 10 options. Same thing, but it also mentions 3D resin parts on this part here. Lots of recycling labels because a lot of the contents are completely recyclable. And the short ends are basically just the same info, box art, scale, item size, logo, and a code, barcode. And at the other end, the same stuff, but on the side instead of on edge, so that if it's stacked that way on a shelf, you can still see the information. Here it just points out that these are during the operations in June and July 1944 with the 8th and 9th Air Forces and the Royal Air Force. Okay, so quite a lot. Let's see what you get inside this very glossy box. The lid of the box just simply lifts up. Simply, he said. There we go. Inside is the instruction leaflet, quite a large instruction leaflet. There's a huge set of decals. There are plastic bags full of parts, everything duplicated. There's clear parts as well. And there are some other decals here. There's an errata sheet. There's the masks, and somewhere else in here, there we go, and the photo etch. But we'll have a look at all these bits and pieces in a bit more detail. Okay, I'm not going to take the frames in alphabetical order because they don't seem to have any relevance whatsoever. So I'm going to start with this. This is the two halves of the fuselage and the rudder, and these come on frame M. The wings and all the bits and pieces to do with them, things like and also the tailplanes, wings, elevators, flaps, and ailerons all come on frame O. Frame P has the cockpit, so the cockpit base, the sides of the cockpit, the seats, seat options. There's lots and lots of options on these things, just be aware. All sorts of bits of interior. There's lots and lots of detailing for the cockpit interior on this frame P. Frame R is largely to do with the undercarriage and the wing internal structure here. And there are also the exhaust manifolds and the exhausts there and the wheels. Frame S contains, among other things, the propellers, different types. There's 4 different types of propellers in this kit. I think we're going to use the square-tipped cuff ones, which are around one of these here. Spinners, that's a part of the air scoop for the end of the radiator, bits and pieces of vents and whatever as well. And then frame F for Foxtrot has a variety of underwing weapon stores. Should be aware, however, that most of these are not being used in the kit. It's really fuel tanks that are of relevance to this kit, not the 5-inch HVAR rockets. Then we have frame K. These are the transparencies for the original style of canopy. This part of the windshield actually came off of the frame. In the box, lots and lots of little bits of lights, and the gun sights here as well. Lights for the under the wings, and so on. And frame L, same thing, but for the rounded canopy. You know, the one without the clear frames. There's a name for this. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember it. It will pop up underneath, I'm sure. The other type of canopy used on the Mustang, the early Mustangs. We're going to have a look at the plastic in more detail here, and you can see the amount of detail that Eduard have put into this kit is quite formidable. The panels, you know, the rivets lines, these are fasteners, the quick undo fasteners, as well as the rivets. All these little panels and little bits and pieces, beautifully molded, very, very cleanly molded, and really nicely delineated. This is going to be an interesting kit to do. The problem is going to be, of course, is trying to get the focus to settle down. The problem is going to be on the joints to get, keep some of this stuff going, but it's a challenge of modeling, I guess. If we have a look inside, this is where we can normally see what the actual plastic's doing, and it all looks very clean. There's no sort of joint lines where plastic of different temperatures have met up. Actually, there's a hint of one here, just a hint, but there's a lot of strange cross patterning that comes in. I think that's from the mold. You can see that. You can see those sort of sharp there's that sort of sharpness. That's almost like a harlequin pattern. That's in the mold that's been done. I wonder why that is. Someone will know, I'm sure. Someone will know. But all of these bits are so delicately molded. So delicate. The interiors. They're going to look great. As you'd expect, there's absolutely no flash here at all on these parts. The joints are undercut as well, so the feed goes straight into the joint face, not underneath into the plastic of the part itself, the external surface of the plastic. Very nice. Again, if we're looking at the wings, you can see there's plenty of detail there, and we get here lots of rivet lines. This is the bottom surface of the wing. Really, really nice detailing. Single and double lines of rivets depending on the structure underneath. Everything looks clean and crisp and clear. Now if we look at the opposite side, the top of the wing, you'll notice there's no rivet lines. There's some quick release here. There's a couple of snap releases here over the magazines, but the rest of the wing, there's essentially a couple of bits of riveting here, but the majority of the wing, you can't see the rivets. That's because they were polished flat, because these are laminar flow wings, and you have to have laminar flow of the top surface. Other than that, beautifully molded as well. And again, with the detail on the inside here, you've got the walls of the cockpit pieces here for 2 different versions, I guess. All very, very nice and sharp. And of course, a lot of this is going to be replaced with photo etch as well, bits and pieces with photo etch. So these are all very nicely printed anyway, even if you weren't going to go to the full photo etch option. Here, can you see the seats are clean in mine? Again, you've got those little rivets right on the base of the seats you can pick up. The instrument panels, if you're not using the photo etch one supplied, you're just going to go with the Decals version. You can see here the moulding very crisp and clean. And then all the interior bits and pieces and switches and radios and whatever else, all very nicely moulded indeed. These moulds are very beautiful. First of the decal sheet is this enormous one. It gives all of the national symbols for the two types of aircraft, the US Air Force and Royal Air Force ones, and then all of the nose art, the registration numbers, the names, serials, all of that on here, and some instrument decals and some interior decals as well. Now they look a little bit dull, but I think that's because these are the new style decals, but I'll talk about that in a bit more detail when we have a look at them a bit more closely. Then there are two complete stencil sets, one for each aircraft that you're going to build. You can see by this point that manufacturers were starting to get a little bit stencil happy, labeling everything and every bit of the plane and goodness knows what else. There are some very, very fine detailed stencils here. I'm not entirely sure how much some of these will stand out when you actually put on, but nonetheless, we'll do what we can. Have a closer look at some of the decals. You can see they're very, very sharply printed. The bomb mission things here, all of these, all very nice. All this detail is perfectly good. You can see here, this is our standard 0.5mm pencil lead here. All very nice and clean, all very nice and clear. All this detailing around here is beautiful. Really nice, really, really nice. And here's the instrument panel stencil decals, transfers, call them what you will. All these various other bits and pieces, all very, very cleanly printed. Very, very clean. Look at this, all here. Very nicely done. Now, I did say the colours to me look slightly faded, and I think this is because these are the new style of Eduard decals. Essentially, the inks are printed on the back of the carrier film, not the front. So the carrier film still sits there, but you take the whole thing off, and you can see sometimes when you can see if I can get it to reflect a bit of light. There you can see how big the carrier film is, and normally that carrier is going to be a lot tighter around the print. See on these letters, the H, for example, there's a lot of carrier film there, and it's quite raggedy edged. Now that's because the printing is actually on the inside of the film, so the whole decal goes on. You let it dry, you let it set, maybe overnight, and then you can take off the carrier film, so it's just essentially the ink that stays on the kit. Wonderful idea. Never done it before. I hear good things about it. I hear some sort of, oh, I'm not sure about it, things as well. You can see here on the stars and bars, you've got quite a considerable size. If this was an Airfix kit, for example, that carrier film would be right tight up against the print. Castograph would print it that way. But we'll see how we go with these. It'll be the first time I've tried them out, so we'll see how we go. And if we go even further in now with the stencils, just to see what they're like, again, that's a 0.5mm pencil lead, and aromatic fuel and all the rest of it. All quite readable. Now, I'm not sure, I suspect these are the same thing. These are the same way of doing things with the decals. I haven't tried them out yet, so I wouldn't know. But I'm going to guess that you have to leave them on and then take the film off the front when they're done. But they're very, very readable. Quite how readable they're going to be when the things finished, of course, is another matter, but they give you that detail if you are able to display it. Now there is a little sheet of 4 sets of instrument decals on an errata sheet. So they recognize that there's a problem with the original, so they've issued a correction. This is the corrected version. You can see all the instruments actually look really, really good. The problem with the original sheet, as we can see here, is that a lot of the black print was missing. So a lot of the instruments don't actually look like instruments. They've just got white faces. Whereas you can see here, the black has been restored and you can see all the dials look right. So that's an errata sheet that's important there. And it's also one for one of the nose art pieces. This is the corrected version here. And the original version, you can see here, they've missed out the blue on the print. So there's 2 corrections to the decal sheet. Then we have the paint mask set on this yellow kabuki paper. You can kind of just about see the cut lines there. These are die cut parts. Now they do have 2 complete sets, so you can do both aircraft with the same type of canopy. You don't have to do one aircraft with one style canopy, one aircraft with the other. You've got 2 complete sets, so that's one set down this side, one set down that side, complete. And then we have 2 complete sets of the photo etch here. So that's the instrument panels on the instrument boxes and switches on the inside. Levers, things like throttle levers, undercarriage levers, flap levers, all that sort of thing are all replicated here. And of course the harness. It's 1 or 2 other little bits. And finally, the instruction leaflet, very, very nicely presented, full colour, glossy cover with a reprise of the box art sort of extended up and down. Very, very nice looking thing indeed. On the inside, we have some translations of what all the signs mean, all the icons mean inside. We have frame maps. You can see from the blue bits here, especially here, the propellers that we're not going to need, and a lot of the weapons you're not going to use. And there's a few bits and pieces on the inside you're not going to use, but a lot of the things are in use. Then there are lists here of the colours that are going to be needed. These are the colours referenced in the kit. They are basically Gunza, Mr. Colour, and Aqueous Colour references. You're going to have to change those to other things if you want to. Or, of course, you may well be using Mr. Colour for all I know. The instructions are much the same as I always see with Eduard stuff. It's actually really nicely organised. Lots of options of marking J do this, marking C do this. Because there are 10 sets of markings you can use, there's going to be lots and lots of possibilities for changes. Photo etch, if you want to put it on, it's optional. You can do different types of photo etch. There's bits and pieces here. Things you have to cut off are in red. But it looks quite complex, but I think it's not as mad as it looks. But again, quite often you'll have certain markings you do this, other markings you do this, and all these parts are provided. Which is why there's so many bits in this kit, I suspect. But it does look gorgeously detailed. Lots of photo etch bits in there to add on as well. So it's quite the challenge. If you want to go the whole hog, it looks like it could be quite a challenge, but the result could be absolutely fantastic. There's all the bits and pieces. And anyway, quite a lot in here. Actually, the most extensive bits, really, and this is halfway through the instruction manual, and we're putting the stores onto a completed aircraft, because next we have the masks, where all the masks go on the different types of canopy, and then we have the 10 sets of markings that are supplied. So this is one from the 328th Fighter Squadron, flown by Captain Henry White. This one flown by Carlton Furman in the 486th Fighter Squadron, the Flying Scot. Then this aircraft flown from the 362nd Fighter Squadron by Arthur Robertson. And you'll notice this one's got the different canopy. One flown by Bill Overstreet from the 363rd Fighter Squadron, Berlin Express. That's quite nice. That's quite tempting to do that one, actually. Hun Hunter, Texas, Baby Brown, Captain Henry Baby Brown from the 354th Fighter Squadron. All these are 8th Air Force so far. An aircraft flown by Ralph Hoffer, 334th Fighter Squadron, with the different canopy. And again, one flown by Jack Bradley, commanding officer of the 353rd Fighter Squadron. This is from the 9th Air Force. Margie Maru, again, quite a nice looking scheme that. With notice a strange sort of things on the black lines of the invasion markings. Quite know what that's all about. This is an interesting one. Captain John Brown's aircraft from the 382nd Fighter Squadron, 9th Air Force. We can notice here that the invasion stripes have been painted over again with, I presume, with some olive green or something like that. So that would be an interesting thing to try to recreate in some ways. That's a possibility. Then we have George Roux from the 374th Fighter Squadron, back to the 8th Air Force again. And we have an RAF aircraft, actually a Polish flown aircraft from 315 Polish Squadron, Royal Air Force, flown by Squadron Leader Horbachevsky. Very smart looking aircraft, and again with this slightly odd shaping of the invasion stripes around the back end. Then there's the stencil markings. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them for an aircraft of this era. Obviously, sometimes in smaller scale, you won't even see a lot of these, so they don't bother including them. But going up to 48 for completeness, they do include all of them. And a bit on the back to make you notes if you want. So a very comprehensive and very attractive looking instruction leaflet. There we go. I think they look amazing, astonishing attention to detail and beautifully molded as well. They should be a challenging but fascinating build in the future. Now, if you've enjoyed the show, and I hope you have, please do remember, give it the old Imperial thumbs up on the like button below because every like counts. And if you haven't done so yet, please support the channel for free by subscribing. If you do that and hit the bell, you'll be notified of all my future content as it becomes available. Thank you so very much for watching today. Hope to see you on the channel soon. Take good care now, and goodbye.